In today's video, I will be interviewing Jean Gibbons, owner of Next Level Consulting. Hello, I am Chavonne Chase. Welcome to Chavonne's World, helping you live life unlimited. In this video, I will be interviewing Jean Gibbons, owner of Next Level Consulting. Hello, Jean. Thanks for joining us today on our show.
Darling. How are you?
I'm great. So what's been going on with you?
Life goes on.
Life does.
It happens every day, whether I like it or not. It happens.
Well, yes, life does goes on. It does happen, and how we deal with it determines our well-being.
Oh, yes.
Yes. So with life going on and all those things, there's lots of social issues in this world, and I know you are a good advocate, strong advocate for some of those. Can you tell us about some of those issues that you are most interested in?
I would say that I'm interested in them as much as plagued by them. I guess that's a better way to put it, just how I feel, because we live in an age where we feel like we should be farther than we are. And with the different things of the economic disparities and the racial tensions, on top of so many other things that are going on, it's a wonder how we have survived this long without re-erecting World War III, to say.
Yes.
But, I mean, the biggest things, there's like education, that should be addressed. And, we all know how things are leading and where they're heading as far as our government is concerned. And as a parent, I have the task of making those things make sense to my kids, especially they're getting into the age now where they're beginning to see the discrepancies of what they're taught and what they're actually seeing happen real time in real world. And I still have to, I'm 27 in 2017. My mother's 55. All of my grandparents have passed. My father's the same age of 55. And I still have to talk to my children about how you can't do this, or you can't do this, or I have to be concerned about my fiance leaving the house because what if, why do I still have to have that as something that is burning inside of me? So these social issues of education, equal education, of job opportunity, of police brutality, of equal finances among men and women as far as economics when it comes to pay rates and those different things. It's not an interest, it's a plague, because we really still shouldn't be. There are far greater issues. There are far greater things that could be accomplished and that could be solved in humanity if we could get past these issues.
So as far as, because you bring up a good point, we do have to be able to get past, to make resolutions to these issues to get past them. So in our families, our home, and in our communities, what types of things can we do now to help teach our youth and even the older people? Some of us were been raised in certain ways, and in our communities that we don't know. I've known people from like New Orleans that I've met that they go out and they come here and they're like, they didn't realize the world could be different. They know what they know and they keep following these. So what can we do to help educate?
Well, first let me tell you how I became educated in that sense. My parents were military. They were both from Gary, Indiana. They were born in the 60s, 1962. And we all know the time frame and the era they grew up in, especially from Gary, Indiana.
Right.
And so my parents did the best they could to definitely shield my brother and I from their realities, because even though times have changed, times really haven't. And so I grew up not really getting the grasping the depth of what it was my parents went through, you know. And I remember the first time I got called a nigger in a store in Clarksville.
Wow.
I was probably 14, around that age. And it was a shock, but it wasn't a shock. I was shocked in the fact that, oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened. It wasn't a shock in that, of course, I knew racism still existed, it was still there. But it was a shock in that it happened to me at this age, in this time, in Clarksville, Tennessee. And I mean, I grew up with white friends. I grew up with different ethnicities of people being associated with me and my family. And so when that happened, that was an eye-opening experience that allowed me to really see, it took the blinders off, and I was able to see that, you know, this is a reality. And I would say that is honestly the first step of educating our children, and not even just our children, but other people who have this thought and this mind process, this paradigm that it's not that bad, or that it no longer exists anymore. And I challenge you to ask the parents or the children of the men and women and the little boys and girls who are missing or who are dead, point blank, they're dead. Ask them if it still doesn't exist.
So is it fair for me to say that what I hear from you is that we gotta talk more?
Oh, yes.
You know, back then, and it's like, I understand why people don't want to talk about those things, but they are doing us an injustice by not bringing the awareness. So it's one of those, take the
Because it's like,
right over.
It's like you're always told a lie by omission is still a lie.
Yeah.
You know, and by not speaking on what's really going on, and not even just talking about what used to go on, you know, it's denial, it's lying to yourself and to everyone else. But part of the big issue is not that nobody knows these things happen or nobody knows the facts of what went on in the past. It's that the people responsible for what happened are not ready or willing to take full responsibility of that. And only when that happens can there really be a healing, honestly, to take place. Because it doesn't matter. I mean, we can come together as a people, obviously, and we can take ourselves out of the equation altogether. But let's be honest, what good would that really do? Because the implications that it would have economically is disastrous. So I believe that it's not just the answer to let's all come together, pack up, and leave. It's not the answer. It's not the answer that we continue to let's come together and just do whatever. No, we're an intelligent people. And there's a plethora of evidence out there that proves to just how intelligent we are. So just because we don't see a way out of it doesn't mean there's not one. And education is definitely the best way to start that, because if you don't know better, you won't do better. You won't.
Well, yes, education, you know, education teaches us, one, how to think in a broad terms, how to understand things. Through education, we also can learn about our history and things that's going on in the past, and how we can change those, change what we're doing now to keep making better improvements for the future. So education, I've always believed also that education is the beginning of things. Education awareness, because you have to start with those basic principles to be able to build up. Because if you don't know, then there's nowhere to go up from.
And it has to be like an education, not just what you're given. You know, it can't be for us. For us, it can't be what's given in school, because it's not even the whole truth. You know, for us, it has to be what you know at home. You know, teaching at home. And if the parents don't know, then they need to do some research to know some more. You know, what we do with our children is we teach them to talk to their great-grandparents, because they're fortunate enough to still have them. And unfortunately, the experience that they have is one that could guide my children to a better understanding of who they are and of what it is who it is they come from. And with that, it's bittersweet, but it's a necessary thing.
Yes, it is, because just the other day I heard somebody say that strength comes through adversity.
Right.
So we talk to our kids and say, hey, people went through all these things, through segregation and all this stuff, till and they still managed to survive and do good things. So yes, they need that to build that self-esteem.
And they need to know that. They need to know all those people who were able to do that. Because it's a strong thing for me to continue to express to my kids and to anybody who has an ear to listen. Our history didn't start as slaves. We didn't start being kidnapped from a country. You understand what I'm saying? Like, we began as a tremendous kingdom of kings, queens, of artisans, of masons, of scientific minds, of astrologers. It's so many different avenues and realms that we have already, pioneered the way through. And at this point, it's a matter of reminding our people and our children and other people exactly what we're capable of doing. And that you don't have to settle where you are to get that. You don't have to just take what they're giving you, learn, do a little research on your own, There's more than Rosa Parks.
Yes.
There's more than Malcolm X. There's more than Martin Luther King. There's Marcus Garvey. There's James Baldwin. There's so many different pioneers in the wake. There's more than Madam C.J. Walker for Black girl hair. You know what I'm saying? There's so many people. And there's this little girl now who is making barrettes that don't pull your hair out. Do you imagine? Do you know how huge that is for little black girls?
Girl, I think it's Makayla.
She does the lemonade stand?
Yes. It's really good tea too, by the way.
You don't, that's what I'm saying. Like, you don't have to look far to see Black excellence. You just have to know that it's there. And be willing to open your eyes to it. And know that if this 10-year-old girl can have a lemonade stand, and she can have a barrette company, you understand what I'm saying? And this amazing young little boy makes bow ties. And he was contracted by the NFL to make bow ties for the teams.
Really? I did not know that.
What you said.
I'm going to have to go look him up, get his name,
man,
put it out there.
And it's not like I had to look far. I was going on Facebook, scrolling on Facebook.
Wow,
like how much excellence is out there that we really, it's not like during slavery we just stopped being great. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
We were still great then. We just, at some point in time, we lost sight of how great we were. And now we're in a state where we're vehemently trying to get other people to see how great we are, but first we have to remember that for ourselves.
We do, yes. That's how we have to get inspired. We have to remember for ourselves, and then we can inspire the next generation.
Yes.
Yes. So, to go back, you mentioned we were talking about how we don't communicate and talk and pass down those things.
Yeah.
Now, I know you are really an advocate of behavioral health and mental health challenges. So, do you have any personal testimonies to that? I know friends who have, or
I know a lot of friends who struggle, I would say, mentally, and it's not that amongst us, it's actually more common than we thought it would be, or that what we're taught that it is. Even within my family, there's, bipolar disorder, there's depression, there's so many other things. I mean, there's drug abuse, any family looks like my family, to be really honest. We all have those people in our family who are like, well, don't talk to her, she's just a little, you know what I'm saying? But it's only from like this huge stigma of, you're not supposed to feel that way. I am supposed to feel that way, or God wouldn't have made me this way to have these feelings. Black women get stressed out. Black men get stressed out. We have depression, there's anxiety, there's personality disorders, there are bipolar disorders, there's all types of different things that plague our mental state. And it's not unjust or undue. There are causes to this. But because we come from such a long line of sweep it under the rug, let's not talk about it, it's embedded in us. And so now we don't talk about it. But now, you have a generation of people who, not even just amongst the Black community, but period, who of police officers, of medical staff, of anyone in a position to help who really isn't prepared or ready to embrace those types of situations when they run into people with mental health issues. There's a whole nother way to handle and to address a person. Everybody deals with mental health differently. It affects people differently. But it's a matter of, number one, that person being able to say, hey, I have this problem, or hey, I have this issue. And then be able to seek help from that, and then know that once they seek help, they're with somebody who can help them on that level, and isn't afraid that if you have a schizophrenic break, they're gonna be able to be there for you, because it happens. It happens. A lot of things are brought on by stress. Stress does the body something amazingly terrible, and it can put you in a headspace that isn't productive or healthy for you or anybody else, and you have to be very careful when it comes to that. And one of the things that actually was very interesting to me, I used to know a young lady who worked for the mental health cooperative, and it's so funny because the outside view isn't the truth all the time. And so she works with different people, and she was like, there are a lot of African American, a lot of Black people who are in my services. And she didn't quite understand that that's a small percentage. You might have a lot on your caseload, but in the big scheme of things, it's a very big stigma amongst the Black community to say, oh, I'm hearing voices. You hearing voices? What do you mean you hearing voices? Don't go sit next to Uncle JoJo, he hearing voices. What you think Uncle JoJo went through that he hearing voices? He needs some help. You know what I'm saying? And not even just, it's like, you can't be who you are. You know what I'm saying? Like, my friends think I'm Superwoman. My kids think I'm Superwoman. I'm not. I break down on a daily basis. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't sleep all the time. My eating is horrible. And I see a therapist. Like, if not once a week, every other week. Because I have to have somebody that I can go to when I literally feel like I have nobody else. There are days I don't want to get out of bed. But let me say I don't want to get out of bed. Oh my God, you're a bad parent. What kind of mother are you? The kind who can't get out of bed today is the kind of mother I am. It's not, I work. I support my kids. I do life for my friends. I do life for my fiance. I do life for everybody else. And so I need to do life for me some days.
Yes.
And some days, all that I have, I've given out to people. And all I can do is break and sit here and just wonder, okay, well, how I'm going to make it to the next day. Because there are some days, even my babies won't pull me out of bed. And those days happen. And people don't expect that from me or you or anybody else that looks like us, because we're supposed to have it all together, because we can't show who we are in this society that already feels like we're nothing.
Yes. Well, the biggest thing that I have found to help since, you touched on that yes, I have my challenges as well, is, having a good support group really does work. It really does help. To have people in your corner who do understand. And then you do have to take time once a week to do something just for yourself. Even if it's just light some candles and sit there for 30 minutes.
Self-care is really important.
So, yes, good music.
Or no music, just whatever makes you feel like you.
Yes.
And tell people no. Tell people I'm not gonna do it today. I can't do it today. You know, and there's nothing like I really feel like this is the biggest thing to say. There is nothing wrong with you being a black person and going to a therapist. There is nothing wrong with that. You go to therapy when you talk to your little friend at the nail shop about what you did yesterday and how it broke your heart. Go talk to somebody about how you still deal with how your father wasn't there for you and how that affected you every aspect of your life. Go talk to somebody about how you still sit here and deal with the fact that your mom was working the whole time, you didn't see her. So those talks you should have had with your mom as your mom and daughter, you didn't have. So you went out into the world and now you're just, talk to somebody about that. Talk to somebody about how you were growing up and your whole family just was like, no, we're not going to accept that behavior from you. And you were like, no, this is what I like. This is who I am. And all of a sudden you're shunned. Go talk to somebody about that. Talk with somebody about the things you can't talk to other people about. I have a great support system. They're not always there. Let's be honest. People are people.
Right.
You know, as much as I feel like I do, it's not always going to be done in return. Mm-hmm. People are people. And my support system isn't always there to be supportive. Mm-hmm. So I have to go talk to somebody about those times where I really, even my support system is slacking on me right now.
You know, but our therapists and psychologists, they are still part of our support system.
Yeah.
So, you know, we have our friends and then we have those that are neutral or have those advanced specializations to deal with more complex things. Because like you say, you know, we're all human, we're all people, we all go through things. Sometimes seem like everybody's going through the same thing at the same time.
Man.
So, you know, Murphy's Law, right?
Yeah.
But yes.
It's like everybody has something. And you're right. Your therapist is a part of your support system. Yes. And a lot of times we don't look at it that way. I mean, I don't even look at it that way all the time. Like, I feel like she's somebody I pay to be there. You know, this is what it is. I pay her to sit there and listen to me. But you're right, the fact that she wants to sit there and listen to me and take my money is a good thing. Because if not, oh no, I make it.
So yes, they are very important to have. I had a nice young lady when I was in Washington that I could just go sit on the back of her couch and she'll always have the nicest quote before I came in. Like, I already looked through my file, could tell me everything I've done that whole month through all my other medical stuff, would ask me, where I wouldn't have to tell her. She was already step ahead. Ask me about how I'm doing. Ask me about this going. I'm like, oh, wow, this is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Have my hour, then I'm good for the next 2 weeks.
Right, right.
But you need maintenance. You do need maintenance.
Absolutely.
And it's everybody, because we all have challenges.
Yeah.
Some may seem bigger than others. Some may go through more challenges on a regular basis than others, but we all need to have that.
To everybody, what they're going through is the worst thing in the world. To everybody.
So for those type of people who we may see and possibly think may have a mental issue and need help, what can we do for those people?
Love them just the way you would love somebody who isn't.
So what if, you know, they need like a little extra help though? You know, and
then
how do you approach those type of people?
Obviously,
or what do you do for them?
Definitely have somebody who is equipped to diagnose these certain things, you know, but on the side of somebody who goes through, somebody who has people who do go through, a lot of times, you know, especially that it's not, I wouldn't say it's as severe as other cases, you know, it's just love them like you would love somebody who does not deal, you know?
Yes.
Love them the way you would want somebody to love you if that was you. Because a lot of it is just like, don't treat them like they're handicapped. Treat them like they're a regular person. Because sometimes that's exactly what they don't want to be dealt with like they're a child.
Right.
And that's just, you know, from my side, my experience.
Yes. I always follow the golden rule. Treat people as you want to be treated.
I mean, would you imagine what would be accomplished if people did
world.
that? I mean, do you want ice cream? I would. So I'm going to give you some ice cream. We're going to trade. I mean, you'd be surprised what would happen if people just didn't act on, you know, mutual interest, but just acted on kindness, maybe? Let's try that for a change.
Yes.
Look what happened.
Awesome. So, Wow, we've talked about a lot
A
of
lot.
social things that you support. So, and things and ways that we can educate and enlighten people on what's going on. So, what can we do? What do you do to actually act upon um, supporting those things, like the physical things? What are some of the ways that we can actually support, and what do you do?
Well, I give money whenever I can give money. I mean, let's be honest, money is what is ultimately gonna grease the wheels on a lot of different things. And so when I can, I do. Right now, my platform isn't the biggest platform to reach a mass amount of people, you know, but I do utilize what I have. I use my social media, you know, I use my voice, I speak out when I find something that, to me, definitely plays me to the point that if I don't say something, I'm going to burst. And just getting involved with some things around town, you know, locally to try. And right now I'm working with a young lady, Stephanie Hust. Me, her, and we're linking up with some other entrepreneurs like yourself and others around the right around the Clarksville area, just to really start something, even though it's small. We have a lot of different things to work, but just something small that can have a big impact. You know, just getting some people together, even if it's just having a network of entrepreneurs that look like us, that know our struggles, and that we can fall back on and say, hey, this is what happened with me recently in this adventure, and, you know, and help me move this point. You know, mentoring is necessary, and that is what's necessary.
The one thing that I find that a lot of people who actually go through struggles, they leave and they come better, but what they fail to do is bring that knowledge back to their communities to where they left.
And that's exactly it, is that you don't always have to leave the community to better your community. You can do it right where you are. I've been in Clarksville since I was 9 years old. As much as I want, not 9, but 2, as much as I want to leave, as much as I would love to leave Clarksville. I've been here since I was 2. Nothing excites me here anymore. Nothing is exciting to me here. But that's just because I've always been here. But if you can't find beauty in your own backyard, what are you going to do somewhere else? So it would behoove me, anybody who associates with me or even has the same paradigm as me, to find what you can do where you are. It was a matter of linking up with some people so you can get some things going for just to give out school supplies. That's what we're going to do. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to be with somebody, to link up with an organization just so you can get that organization in such a place to where they can be effective, that's what you do. Everybody has a role they can play, no matter what it is, how big it is, where it is. Everybody can do something, and it can be done in your backyard. You don't have to leave home to make home look nice.
Yes, and most people these days know how to Google. Google. So if you Google nonprofits in Clarksville, Tennessee, you'd be surprised at the number of ways to help people that exist. They are numerous. I can't even remember the number right now. And there is a cause, you know, find your cause that's true to your heart and support it. That's what I tell people.
Always.
Always.
And don't stop there. Link up with other like-minded people and do something else. I mean, why not? You know, why not? It doesn't matter how big it is at the beginning. It matters if you can help one person and you helped one person. And you can pass it on. They can help somebody else. You know, it's one thing that I hold on to is most definitely that Christ was asked what's the greatest commandment. He said there too. He said, love God and love your neighbor. And so if I can love God, then I'll love my neighbor. And by doing all that, I have to learn to love myself. And I can only learn to love myself once I learn to love God. And then passing that along, well, I'm going to love somebody else. And then because they feel loved, they're going to love somebody else. And because they feel loved, they're going to love somebody else. And so on and so forth. And if you can pass that along, what else can go along with that? You know what I mean? Like, and love isn't that mushy love that, oh my God, let me coddle you. No, I'm talking about real agape love. Like the love that, look here, you're slipping. I need you to get this together. I love you. And we're going to do this, you know, and I might not be able to help you do this, but I'll support you in that. And then you can move there and move here. And like the people in your life that are most, probably have the biggest spot in your memory are the people who were like, you're slipping, honey. Your skirt's showing. You slip out. You're dropping. Let's get this together and let's keep trucking. You remember those people because they loved you enough to tell you, honey, you're messing up. And you can do this. I see this in you. You can do this. A lot of times people just need somebody to see what they don't see. And not just what the outside is, but to look a little deeper and to see that, you know what? There's a little something else in there that I can love you to pulling out.
Yeah, sometimes I think, too, people just need to know they're not alone. And just by saying, hey, get yourself together, and they have that support in their mind. So, yes, we do need to do more of that.
Yeah.
So, I know you have been managing social media for Assistance at a Distance.
Yes.
And you are now the owner of your own company, Next Level Consulting.
Yes.
So, tell us about that and how you can you use that to help with that voice in your platform.
Well, I have so many things I want to do. And I want to be able to fund them without restrictions. And the only way I could figure to do that was to own my own business. And I'd be the one to dictate what goes where. As far as what funds I donate to, you know, whatever cause. And not that I would only put it to my cause, I would of course put it to others, but I feel like if we cannot control where our money goes, we don't have power.
Yes.
And I am in the business of allowing other people to recognize what power they have and to use it. And the way that I thought of to do it was I need my own business. And the young lady I work with, Stephanie Hoyes, for Assistance at a Distance, she actually did that for me. You know, she started her business. One of her things was to provide opportunity to young black women. And here I am. And so I see no reason to break from that. I see no reason to not do that too. You know, especially because, I mean, let's just be honest, money, like I said, money moves. Money moves. And so if I can get to a point to where I don't have to go to a government that does not care about whether or not my people live or die, and I can provide the means to help prosper without having to have somebody tell me I can or can't because they don't agree with what I'm doing, I'm not going to do that.
We're glad you have that gut. So, Next Level Consulting. So what is Next Level Consulting? What kind of services do you provide?
Okay, Next Level Consulting is definitely organizational health, conflict resolution, interdepartmental cohesion, all the behind the scenes things that bring an organization into productivity, because your people matter, your processes matter. All of that coming together matters. It really does. And you'd be surprised how much profit will be added to a business. Not revenue. You can bring in money all day and still be broke. Okay? Not revenue, but profit. Just by being cohesive. That's the best word I can put up. Being cohesive. Knowing how your departments can work together and they know what they can do separate, having the right people in the right places, knowing that yes, you can bigger, you can have constructive criticism, you can play devil's advocate, all of that behind doors in this 1 hour staff meeting. And then when you confront the rest of your team and you go to your individual teams, when you go to your second teams, because that staff table, that's your first team. But when you go to your second team and you disseminate information, everybody's talking the same language, as it should be. But if you don't have that health, if you don't have that trust, that, okay, let's go into this conflict, let's really bring out the truth, and then let's get it together on the board, and this is what we're going to do, then you're not going to be able to work with other departments, because they're going to be like, this is mine, and this is mine, and you can't do this, and you don't step on my toes. Kind of like our government. And does it work?
Well, we're going to let the viewers
Just saying.
answer that question for themselves.
Say that.
I really like the concept of your business, because I really honestly think it was this morning, it might have been last night, but I did see a post probably on LinkedIn or one of my social media sites that I have, that someone posted a quote and said, people don't tend not to leave a job, they leave a
people
boss.
Leave managers.
They leave a boss.
People. Leave managers.
I did just read that, and when you go to business schools and you go to all these things, they always focus on building relationships with the customers. That's like, and they may mention other things a little bit, but in order to have a company to grow, you also have to build relationships with your staff and the people you work with to get that cohesion. So I commend you for helping us bring that to our company.
Absolutely.
We will need that services.
I would love to be of use to you, my darling.
Awesome. Well, Miss Jean, I am so thankful that you came on the show today.
Thank you, ma'am.
And
Thank you for having me.
Know that you'll be an inspiration to our viewers, just as you have to your children and the people around you in your neighborhood.
Oh, thank you. That makes me feel good. You're amazing. I appreciate this opportunity. You've been really. I've known her for like 10 years.
10 years.
Yeah, honey.
10 years.
It's been a little over that.
A little old.
We're not gonna
Like
speak on
since
how old.
2006. It's been like since 2006
It
when I
has
came back
been.
from Kuwait.
Wow. So yeah, we've come a long way.
Yeah.
We have come a long way. I'm very proud
Good
of you.
memories to go back to, but we will talk about those on another show.
Probably not
Because
this
you
one.
will be another guest, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thanks for viewing this edition of Chavonne's World. Until next time, helping you live life unlimited.